This year, I turned a small city garden into a full-on vegetable patch. I tried to grow as much of my own food as possible. With over 25 crops, limited space and zero formal training, I had no idea if it would actually work. Could I grow enough to feed myself, save money, beat the frost, the slugs, and my own inexperience? From planning in January to harvesting in autumn, this is a year of growing in a small garden and everything I learned along the way. Let's see what you can actually grow in a city space. I've dabbled in gardening for a few years now and it's become one of the most rewarding things I do. Nothing beats cooking with vegetables you've grown yourself. I find myself asking, how many zucchinis do I really need? How many potatoes fit in a raised bed? And is it even possible to grow enough food in a city garden to make a difference? This video is a journey through the seasons, the highs, the failures, and the harvests. I'll show you exactly what I managed to grow, what worked, what didn't, and whether it saved me any money. So if you're curious about starting your own small garden or just want to see what's possible in a tiny space, come along and watch my year in the garden. You join me in January when we still have frost and my bird bath here iced over. This is a time we think about the garden and we prepare for everything. I decided to buy strawberries from Amazon. Ever-bearer strawberries, 20 plants, delivered very quickly. I put them in pots and in the ground, and this was my first fail-safe crop that I decided to get ready. In the garden, there's a lot of bindweed and a lot of problems that I needed to come across because this garden hasn't been looked after. And peas were one of my second crops that I actually got ready. I had to get raised garden beds because the bindweed was causing some issues. After much deliberation, I found the concrete blocks were the best option for me because they gave me a place to plant raised and it was easy to maintain. I used the soil from around the bed because this is a hill, and I used that soil in the garden bed because I found it was actually quite a good soil mix, and I sieved out the top couple of inches just to give me a good planting medium. And I added farmyard manure in packets, as well as my friend has ponies, so I actually got horse manure. I thought about mulching. There's a couple of mulching options I thought about. Cut the lawn and quickly trimmed the grass and scattered it over the top. This year is basically checking out how this works. The peas quickly held root. I kept them inside while they germinated, and then I decided to put them out alongside some wood canes, just giving them a bit of support with some thread. And my third crop is direct sown garden beans. So I'm going for the easy growing options here, which are just to test the soil, because remember, like I mentioned, this being a new location, I don't know what will do well. And I quickly set sweet corn in a tub with tissue paper and a damp cloth just to get some germination. You don't have good rates of
growth from direct, I also use tissue paper. You'll see these are different types of seeds. But you can simply put tissue paper in a container, put a bit of water in there, just enough like to keep them damp, and put a lid over them. That's pumpkin and that's zucchini and that's some nasrantum seeds, and I cover them over and I put a lid on them. And that's the second method. You can see I do them quite a lot. It reduces the amount of compost you need, it gives you a head start, and you can tell if they're seeding before you plant them out, so you're not putting in dead seeds. So you can see only when they start giving you little roots that you can plant them, so you're getting a better use of the space you've got and the compost. So nothing at the moment on these, but the peas will be better. Let me show you one of the peas.
Gardening is a patience game. So once you've done your first batch of seeds, it's basically relax, sit back and let things take their course until you need to plant out. And I would jump ahead on April and you'll see the strawberries have done extremely well. These are stack pots which you stack up, and I put them in the middle of the garden so I can access it all the way around. And this was my second harvest. The peas actually did give me pods before I got strawberries. Here's a little tip, put a cage over them. There's a lot of bird activity here, so I was worried about the birds taking the strawberries, and having this little plastic protection allows me to cover that over so the birds can't directly access the strawberries, so we get a harvest. That sandwich, you remember that sandwich? There was a strawberry cream sandwich going around there, but yeah, I use them for something else. But these are very luscious, they grew very nicely. All I did was water them a couple of times, and they're very good because the amount of space that they take up is very minimal to the amount of strawberries you get. And you can see I'm taking out the really ripe strawberries here, and I'm leaving behind the green ones which will be ready in a couple of days time, so I'm going to be getting continuous harvest. A nice strawberry and lime mojito. You'll see the garden has changed slightly. So over the period of this summer, I was actually doing a little bit of work around the garden. I laid down some paths, and I did put sunflower seeds in at the same time as I put the climbing beans in direct sown, and those came out and did really well. And then the zucchinis were planted out and those did extremely well. Zucchinis need a lot of moisture, so what I did, I put a clay pot in the ground. And you know what, this worked very well for me. It's like the oiler type of situation where you water in ground and it stays in the pot. When the plant grows around it, the roots will get moisture from and wick away from the pot, so it only gets the water it needs. And my zucchinis were prolific this season. I got so many zucchinis. I bagged them up, cut them up and froze them, because we like a curry out of zucchini, which is courgette. is radishes. I had multiple sowings of radish. They take about 4 weeks and you get nice little radishes which are perfect for growing. Here's the peas. We were taking pea pods all the time. I think next year I need to put a lot more peas on there because they did it really well there. They don't need a lot of space, but they did well. And then the beans, I haven't thought about the beans. I did take the bean pods and cut them up and froze them for stir fries. But my plan is to keep some beans for actual soups and stews. And you can also see some flowers around the perimeter here, which ended up doing very well. These are marigolds. And see that pot? The other day we topped it up. It's used up some of the water. So every couple of days it uses water. It's just a case of coming out every now and again, keeping an eye on the garden, seeing what's growing well, taking note. Sunflowers did well on this side. They didn't go extremely tall, so maybe I need to add more compost next time. And the water situation is a bit of an issue because I've only got 4 beds, of which I'm using 3 for active growing, and I wasn't able to water them as much as I wanted to because we had a really dry summer, and there's a hose pipe ban on as well, so we had to use the water from the water barrels. I've done a lot of work on my water barrels, by the way. I've got like 8 water barrels of 230 litres each, prepping for next season, because I know if we get another summer and we don't get enough rain, a lot of these plants need that, so I need to be careful with how that works. What we'll do is we'll keep an eye on these and see how this progresses. So you can see now I'm just going around with a little rake hoe there to get rid of any weeds. If you frequently get rid of weeds, it's easier than doing one big batch. So here's the radishes I was talking about, and some zucchinis there as well. And these are very nice. Like, you can use them in a number of different ways. I just eat them raw like they are while I'm around the garden. They've got a nice little bit of a bitter taste to them. The sunflowers did extremely well. They attracted a lot of pollinators to the garden, so definitely next season I need to plant more sunflowers, not only for them attracting the bees, but for that scrumptious sunflower seeds that I've been attacking all season. But let's just have a look at the plants themselves. They look healthy, they seem like they're growing well, and the zucchini plant grows tall, so I already planned for that by putting this little A-frame in there. So these big flowers act like radars. They bring in the bees, which then mess around in the garden and sit on everything and create a nice pollinating environment, so that works very well. But the amount I'm using for a garden bed, it's truly only 2 beds, which are 2 foot by 7 foot, 8 foot. So technically, if you have a small garden, you can still do a lot of this. I've got pots with mint, basil, and carrots on the side. There's a lot of activity going on in the garden. So if you don't have a big garden, you can still get little pots and grow. And you can see the pumpkins. My pumpkins did not germinate very well at all this season, and I had to plant them quite late. So you'll see this is a 3rd sowing of pumpkins. So they didn't do as well as the zucchinis, and then I had to make a completely different bed just to have enough space, because pumpkins sprawl all over the place. This is me planting out the pumpkins in their own bed with a clay pot next to them, a terracotta pot even, and that will help gain the moisture it needs. So I need to be a lot earlier with the pumpkins. The zucchinis, like I mentioned, I was getting this kind of harvest every 3 to 4 days. I've got 4 plants of zucchini, and you're getting 2 per plant, zucchinis, courgettes, and then in a couple of days I get another 2, couple of days I get another 2, and I was really pleased with them. They got all used up. Gave a couple to the neighbours, but I think I need to double down, so maybe 6 plants next year. And you may be thinking, how can you eat so many zucchinis? I've got an extra fridge freezer. I chop them up and I freeze them for over winter. So they actually last a lot longer than summer. Remember, grow what you eat and really grow a lot of it. I'm hoping to do aubergine next year, which I've never done before, and I feel like I could give that a nice shot. So make sure to subscribe to the channel and we'll see how that does next season. Beans. So these are the white beans and red beans. I grow a lot of these in the garden. I didn't grow enough of them. I only got, I think, 1 kilo of beans in the end, like dry beans. And the pods were consistently giving me pods. So you'll see these pods here, like a handful every couple of days were drying up. And then I got loads of them. Here's like 1 kilo worth of those beans that I was able to get from the harvest from the garden. And it's just the top end of the garden, the homestead location here. Look at these ones. These are slightly different. These are the bigger versions, the Scarlet Emperor beans. And they've got a nice color to them. Like a red with like a dappling of black on them. And these are really good, like almost like potatoes. If you boil them up and you eat them, it's got like a nice soft texture. They're not dry yet, so that's why the skin's coming off. You need to let them dry if you want to keep them as beans. And you'll see I had some Weetabix in the morning with my strawberries from my garden, enjoying the day with the marigolds around the bed. And I've started putting paving down and just slowly making the garden a better place to be. My marigolds did extremely well.
Is this the only flower plant that you need to grow to have an amazing garden? I think it is. This is the humble marigold.
Smelt beautiful, got all the wildlife into the garden. Here's William, our pony that's been donating his compost for the manure, which has been helping me get my soil up to scratch for planting vegetables. And we also had wood chips down and mulch. So this is the far side of the other side of the garden, which you didn't see. And I've started thinking about mulching here. So I put straw down. We got the horse manure. I mixed that in with a bit of wood chip, a bit of horse manure, a bit of straw, just to give me the best planting location. So you will see over this video, I've slowly been putting overlays of all the counting of crops. Some of these are flowers which are edible. Some can be used to make other things. You can see here I keep the rose petals, dry them out, and these can be used in a number of ways, essential oils or even in tea. I did start seeds off as well, and you'll see here I've got some beetroots. So towards the later season, I like to plant in beetroots in any empty space that I end up getting from harvesting early crops. So I want to share this with you because I feel like it's a nice overall season, because if you can plan for this, you will have times where you can get rid of some of the cropping plants which are coming off end of their life and not producing as well. And you can start putting in other plants to make the best use of the space. So even though I'm only using 3 garden beds here, if you plan this well enough, I got a very good harvest from this location. You're looking at over 23 kilograms of zucchinis, over 8 kilograms of potatoes, and sunflower seeds. I actually filled 2 5-liter containers of sunflower seeds, and there's loads of other dotted about. I was taking apples from my apple tree, which I used in apple milk, apple mojitos, and also apple crumble pie. So a lot of these garden things, if you grow what you like and what you like to eat, you will be more happy growing it, and when you get a lot of produce, you can use it. Last thing you want to do is grow something that you don't really have a use for and just like the look of it. So a lot of these things I'm planting here have been food related. I'm going to try a few more pumpkins next time. I also did grow some different types of salad and chard. So chard is a very good alternative. I found spinach doesn't work that well for me. It bolts. So I use chard. It's prolific. If it grows well, You get lots of little cuts of the chard. You can cut it up and use it like a salad. I had 3 different types of salad growing as well, which I'll show you later on. I'm keeping this counter going. I think easily the crops I've shown you, there's about 23, 24 crops. And then I've got a few others that I've started off this year. I've got a pear tree, I've got a cherry tree. So I'm counting them as crops, but they haven't harvested this year. And I've also got some gooseberries which are going in the ground as well, which will be ready for next season. I feel like I wanted to give you a view of real life growing, how it feels in a small location, how you have to be a bit flexible. You have to pop out in the garden every now and again just to weed, check how plants are growing, what's growing well, what needs addressing, what you maybe don't grow next year, or you find a way to make it grow better. And you'll find on YouTube lots of great videos to help. You'll see I'm only using one side of the garden here. This allotment area, homestead location in the back of the garden. The opposite side, I didn't get around to doing really quickly, because if you follow the channel, you'll see a lot of projects that I did. I made a big hors shed out of garden home doors. I made an outdoor conservatory. I made a basketball court. I leveled off all this location, made these garden beds, and I planted quite a few trees here as well. So we did very well for 6 months, I'm counting, of work. You can see the radishes here coming in as well, and radishes are very good because every couple of weeks you'll see like growth, and it's encouraging to see. So it was just a case of managing your time. I want this to be minimum effort garden. So the way I've done this is I plant in the beds. Okay, I'll have to water, I'll have to do a little bit of weeding around the beds, but the main goal here is keeping an eye on the weather, the location, what works well in your location. Every now and again coming out, looking at the garden, seeing what's working well. It will help you get through it, basically. Taking away dead leaves, cutting away like leaves if it's too hot, thinking about water. And you can see jumping ahead here, the apples, which were very nice. They are full season. I did like a little short video of the blossoms. Here's a cherry tree which hasn't quite come in yet. This is the first year for the cherry tree. What I will do is I'll leave you with a number of extra clips that I did record, which I didn't get to put in this early speaking version of this. I'm going to give you like a version of just showing you what a daily life looks like. And you'll see here, these are the, in the behind, I've got the patio for the basketball that I was laying. I had 3 different types of salads that I grew. So that's like an extra cropping mix there, and those salads did really well. Just cut the leaves and they kept growing back. I had mint, I had basil. We had a number of great harvests from the garden. Zucchini did extremely well. Sunflower seeds did well. I had loads of beans, which did great because I got them for the pods and the beans themselves. Pumpkin didn't do as well because I was a bit late growing them, and the cucumbers were a bit of a failure because I started too late. And the corn didn't quite grab its root because I did that late as well. So next time what I will do is get more pumpkins in early, more zucchinis, more corn, and also think about the main apple trees and how I can encourage them to fruit better. So I'm very pleased you joined me here in this video. This is a season of growing in a small UK city garden. On screen you'll see a playlist of all the videos how I did this. I'll see you on that next video.